Hi everyone, welcome to the fourth VIROO webinar. Today is an exciting day. We're going to show you brand new things that we have included in VIROO Studio for Unity that are going to help developers to create some specific use cases faster and in an easier way. Remember that everyone that joins here live can ask questions, so please feel free to use the chat. Some of the questions, we may answer them while we're doing some stuff, and the other we'll probably leave to the end. But the best thing of all today is that it's the first webinar that I'm not alone. I'm here joined by Sergio Barrera, CTO of Virtualware, that is going to show us this amazing demo of the latest thing that we have included in VIROO Studio. Remember, VIROO Studio for Unity is a package that we include in Unity that is going to allow you to create XR apps, multi-user, multi-device, without having to code at all. And if you are an expert programmer, you can always use Unity's visual scripting or even your own C# in order to create these amazing apps. So Sergio, thanks for joining me in this webinar. What exactly you have today to show us?
So hi everyone, as Alberto has already introduced, today we are going to follow a very simple workflow on how to create a very specific work, which is a training build based on an assembly sequence. But as even that it seems a very simple process, it involves a lot of complexity and inherent complexity regarding a lot of game systems working together to achieve that sequence. So I'm going to share my screen. Everything that we are going to see today is going to be in real time. So maybe something can be wrong, but I don't expect so because we have trained sometime this. So, but anyway, I'm going to share my screen. Alberto, tell me when you see my screen, please.
Yeah, sure. And remember, I'm going to be looking at the chat. So if you want to ask questions while Sergio is doing the live demo, feel free, because this is something really interesting. I'm going to turn off my camera, so nothing is going to block the Unity screen, okay, but we'll still hear. And I will be checking the chat and Sergio will conduct. I'm already seeing the screen, so I'm turning my camera off.
Okay, great. So the first step is going to be to explain how do we provide this template. We have already created a lot of stuff in this hierarchy here for you to make the process easier. There are some systems in the hierarchy, and I'm going to go one by one explaining how what does each one, and how we combine them to make this thing work. Okay, so the first important thing in this scene, furthermore, the standard components and game objects that we use in any VIROO project, which are these ones from here, are grouped in this training build hierarchy. So the first one is the grabbable manager. The grabbable manager is a thing which is going to be the manager of the objects that we're going to be able to grab with our hands or with our controllers in XR, and the XR sockets or the places where those parts are going to be feasible to put them, okay, or to drop them. Okay, so we are going to have two important things: the parts themselves and the targets in which those parts are going to be dockable, let's say. Okay, so this grab manager is in charge of managing that, or managing the complexity of that. Everything in this project is being developed using visual scripting, almost everything, not everything, but almost everything. And in any moment, you can go further these specific details here inside to modify or to customize the implementation to achieve your own purposes, okay? But in this particular webinar, we are not going to need to go inside them because everything is going to be feasible from the Unity editor, okay? So okay, so this thing is is in charge of that. We have here an assembly group, which is going to be like a game system, which is going to manage how those parts relate with the targets. Okay, so this is going to be in charge of that. We have the sequence manager, which is going to be the place where we are defining the sequence of steps that the trainee needs to do to complete the task. We have a display canvas here. This is just to show how we can display information about the things that are being completed. Of course, you can modify it, you can customize it, or you can even create your own entries here and so on. This is just an example. And we have a button here, which is going to allow us to reset the sequence once we have finished it, just to restart it and to allow us to debug and so on. Okay, so as you're watching here, we have an empty, not empty, but we have an environment, but there is no 3D model on which we are going to operate. And the first thing we are going to do is to give something into the scene, okay, to have something into the scene. So I'm going to go to this 3D models folder in which I already have a prefab. This is the small one. I'm going to use this one. Okay, so here we have a Lego model, which has several parts. Some of them are grouped, another are just simple instances like these ones and so on. So imagine that we want to do something like making a process in which you have to first set this axle and then set this wheel into position, okay? So it involves making things grabbable, making things reproducible or playable in a sequence, and so on. The thing we do that in using our template is very simple. Is we are going to drag and drop this inside the assembly group because we have to have any of the objects tracked inside this hierarchy. And once we do, we have done that step, we are going to go over any part we want to make grabbable, and we are going to make them grabbable. So imagine that this wheel, this specific wheel here, I want to make it grabbable. We have created a specific editor window, which is a VIROO Studio Template, which we have called Assembly Group Editor, which is going to be in charge of modifying the specific component that we have here. But instead of doing manually, we are going to do that work using this specific editor window. Okay, so once we have a part selected, like this one, for instance, we are going to make this grabbable. What we can do here is to set a specific ID for this part because we have to have them identified in the network and in the whole process. Each one is going to have its own ID. So I'm going to call this something like well on1. And this part is going to be of type or of kind wheel. Okay, so this means that this part is going to be compatible with this kind of targets. Later on, we are going to create targets, and this part is going to be compatible with this one. When I hit create, this creates some objects here in the hierarchy, and I have a way to track them using these small buttons. I can click on this one is specifically the starting position that I want this part to start when I hit play in the editor. Okay, so I'm going to move this starting position to another location, like this one, for instance. Okay, and if I click on this one, I'm selecting the assembly part I've just created. This a very quick and straightforward way to navigate through very, very large hierarchies that we can have in industrial projects. Okay, so once we have done this, if I hit play, what I have done is to say, okay, this is a part which is something grabbable, and in fact, I can. Sorry, I forget something. I forget this is something that could happen. I forget to create a collider for this part. Okay, so as this is a thing that needs to be grabbable, for that to work in Unity and specifically in XR Interaction Toolkit, I need to create a collider for it. So I'm going to create the collider. In my case, I'm using PXYZ because I have Unity Industry, but this can be done using the standard Unity colliders as well, okay? Colliding system as well. So I'm going to create an axis align bounding box of kind local, and this is going to create a collider, which is the minimum bounding box aligned with this axis here. So when I create them, now if I hit play, okay, this part is something that I can grab and I can move across the scene, okay? But I cannot drop it here because I cannot create the target yet. So next step is going to be to create the target. How do I create the target using our system? It's as simple as once I have the part created, I can go here and select it. Okay, so now I select it. And now I can, when I select the part, another interface appears here, which is the assembly targets interface. I can specify the material I want to use for the feedback. I have a material which is called feedback, I guess. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so once I have this, when I hit create, this creates an assembly target in this proper location with the material I have set as feedback. And now, if I hit play again, this is a part that can be dropped or docked into that location. Okay, so now if I go here, get it, and go here, and drop it, I can and grab it, I can drop it on the location. I can get it again, and so on. Okay, and I have a socket and the feedback for it, and so on. Okay, so
Okay, Sergio,
imagine,
if you don't
yeah.
mind, I'm going to ask two questions that some people may be wondering at this point. So the first one is that that 3D model that you have, what are exactly the requirements that you need to have to the 3D model? Is a special 3D model? Any kind of 3D model would work? It has to have different parts. And the other question is that this move that you are doing when you are grabbing the piece is going to be automatically spread through a network just by doing this?
Yeah, of course, yeah. I answered to the first question first. Yeah, the models are just standard meshes in Unity. Okay, so the only requirement you need is that if you want a part to be something that you can move independently from the other stuff, it has to be an independent part in the hierarchy. Okay, so you need to have some hierarchy with separated meshes. Okay, that's the idea. But that can come from any kind of source. In my case, this is coming from Keria, because it has been imported using Pixit. I use Pixit a lot. Okay, so I have a Unity industry, so I can use Pixit a lot. But it could be coming from an FBX or for whatever any GLTF or GLB or whatever model. Okay, so it's the same. That's the only requirement. And answering to the second question, yeah, of course. Once you create this grabbable stuff, you don't have to worry about the syncing across the network, because that's the work that VIROO do. And what we are doing in real time when we specify this part. Let me select this using here because it's easier for me to select using this. Okay, when I create this and I hit play, what our visual scripting system does is to feed this game object with a lot of components that we need to make it grabbable, to make it compatible with a specific kind of socket, to resend events like the events when you go hover it, you hover it, or you go and select it, or you go and activate it, or whatever, and those related with the networking as well. Okay, so this creates a network variable with a specific name for it, and so on. Okay, we can show it. In fact, if I go to the visual scripting which is running inside, here we have a lot of stuff which is happening, and one of the things is this grabbable assembly 01 /0, which is the variable that we are using to synchronize the transform itself. Okay, but this is done automatically. You can modify this if you have the skills to do that, but it's not necessary at all. for this template.
Okay, thanks. I just wanted to highlight how this useful is, because all those nodes, variables, and components that are automatically added, they're going to make development so much faster, even for advanced developers. So that's why some people may be wondering. So that's how it works, and that's how easy it is to create. So thanks. You can go on right now.
And it's quite important the way that we are releasing this. We are releasing the whole project. We are not hiding anything. Okay, so you're going to be able even to extend these templates to make your own functionality, to create something much more nice than this specific display I have created, just an example, and so on. Okay, so we are giving everything in this template for you to start working as it is with our what we call already complete components, but you can, or almost already complete components, but you can extend it as you need. Okay. So imagine that I'm going to continue. Imagine that, for instance, I would like to create another part for this axle. So I'm going to select this part. I'm going to go here and say, okay, I want to name this axle O1, and this is of kind axle. Okay, so I'm going to create a part. The same as before, I have to create a collider for it. This step is optional, because sometimes when you import 3D models with some importers, you can create colliders automatically. And that's why we are not creating them. We could be creating them automatically when you hit on that create. But we prefer not to do that, because sometimes you prefer to customize your own colliders, or the importer you're using is allowing you to do that automatically. Okay, so I'm going to create a collider, not to forget it, as before. The same as before, I'm going to create a box collider like this one. Okay, so it is ready. And now, as I have it selected, I can create a target for it. So here I have the target. I'm going to move its starting position to another location. Like, for instance, let's say I would like to set it here. Okay, so now if I hit play, I have both ports as grabbable stuff that I can move through the scene, and each one is compatible with its specific socket. Okay, this is compatible with this one, and the other one is compatible with the other. Okay, but I haven't created any kind of sequence yet. So next step is going to be how this can be put into a sequence to let the user, the trainee, make that in the right order to be successful in their task. Okay, so to do that, we have what we call the sequence manager. The sequence manager is much more than that, but basically what it does is a completable items list, which is empty by default, and you can create your own entries here. Okay, but to create your entries here, if I now try to select an object, as I have any completable item data in my scene, I cannot select them. So first, I need to create those completable items. And in particular, as we are working with targets, what we are going to do is select those targets. I'm going to select the wheel, and I'm going to add a prefab that we have already created to that wheel to make it, let's say, a sequentiable thing, a completable thing. Okay, and that's in the prefabs folder. Let me look for it. It's here. Okay, we have here something which is called completables, and here we have a specific one which is the part target completable. This one, which I can drag and drop onto this one. Okay, and onto the other one. I'm going to do for both. Completable is here. Okay, so I have had these two game objects here. And these two game objects inside has a completable item data. Okay, and in this completable item data, I can specify the ID for this completable. Let's say it's like the identification of the place where I can put this type of parts. Okay, so I'm saying here, this is like I'm in the wheel, I guess. I don't know which one I am. No, this is the axle. Okay, so this is the axle completion, let's say. Or if I want to be more specific, I can say Axel 01 completion. Axel 01 completion, okay. And then to look for it easier in the hierarchy, later on when I select it from the inspectors, I'm going to change the name as well here, Axel 01. And here I'm going to say, this is the wheel 01. And I'm going to say here, this identifier is wheel 01 completion. Okay, so this identifier here is the one I'm using later on to show in this table. Okay, to debug and to know which step is being completed by the user or by the users, because this is a networking networked stuff. Okay, so once I do have set those completables, I can return to the hierarchy, go back to the hierarchy, and then I can select them from here. I can say, okay, I first want to place the axle, and then I want to place the wheel. And once I do that, if I hit play, this sequence is already a sequentiable thing. Okay, you can see that it's telling me using that feedback shader or material I selected before, it's telling me, okay, this is the first thing you should complete. Okay, and then when you set it, the other starts blinking, telling you that this is the next step. And here in the table is reflecting which completable are you setting, are you dropping, or in its proper position, the timestamp in seconds before the start of the sequence, and the user who is doing the work. In my case, is a mock machine, because as I'm in Unity, we are mocking the user. We are not using the networking. But once you publish the VIROO application, here you would be seeing the actual user running the session. Okay, so I'm going to set this, and when you finish, you can show in the console that the sequence has been complete as well. Okay, I can restart it using this button. Okay, just to debug and start again. Okay, and so on. This is just the beginning of what you can do with these systems. Imagine now that before letting the user assembling parts, you want to give him or her some kind of feedback, audio feedback or explanations or whatever. What you can do is, we have already created some systems like audio completions or clickable completions or playable director completions or trigger completions, videos, and so on, which allows you to add stuff in that sequence, furthermore the assembly stuff themselves. Okay, so I'm going to do some example. If I drag and drop the audio completion, I'm going to set this one here, for instance here. Okay, this specific object, I'm going to move it inside the hierarchy just to have everything tidy. So I'm going to move it here. Okay, this audio completion. Inside has an audio completable, which is has a completable item data as well. Okay, which an ID. I'm going to say here audio instruction, for instance. So as it has a completable item data, it can be sequenced in the manager. So I can go here and add another item and select it from here. Okay, so now I can move it. I can reorder them. Okay, the first thing which is going to happen is the audio, then the axle, and then the wheel. Okay, so if I hit play now, I hope you hear the sound. Okay, so what that completable does is to wait for the audio to be played, basically.
I didn't hear the audio, Sergio, so maybe when you share your screen, you didn't share the audio.
Maybe, I
Just to
don't
let
know.
you know, but we swear that there's an audio there.
Yeah, I don't know if I can change directly here or not. I don't know.
No worries. For
Okay.
that, Warren, we will have the live video then on YouTube,
Okay.
and we probably will have the audio, so no worries about that.
Okay. Anyway, what it does is to wait for that audio to place, which basically what it's telling is that that you need to follow the feedback signs to complete the sequence. Okay, so that's what the audio is saying to the user. And then when the audio ends, continues to do the next step, which is the axle and so on. Now imagine that we want to add feedback about the user needs to be placed in a specific position before doing anything here in the sequence. We have the player trigger completion system, which you can add here, and is like in the area that the user needs to enter to complete that step. Okay, so once you have that, I'm going to put inside the hierarchy as well. I'm going to change here the identifier as well. This will be something like player in position, for instance. Okay. And then I go to the sequence and add another entry and select that player in position. I haven't changed this, so I'm going to change it to locate it better. So this is the player trigger. And then I'm going to select here player trigger, this one, okay? And here appears a new line giving us feedback about the order that the sequence is going to take. As I want this to be reproduced just after the audio, I can move it here. And now it says, first it's going to play this, and then it's going to wait for the user to enter this area, which is basically a collider. Okay, so when the user enters this area, it completes that step, and then the rest of the sequence. And every of these, one thing that is important is that, as I have mentioned before, this is done using Visual Scripting as well. Okay, so the completable stuff is done using this very simple, maybe it's not so simple system, but just a couple of some functions that you need to implement. And if you are able to do that, you can create your own completable stuff. Imagine that you want to create something like a shooting range in which you need to hit 3 targets to continue to the next step. You can create your own 3 shooting range target completion system. And once you have it, you can put into your sequence as well. Okay. The only requirement for it to be sequenceable is to have a completable item data, one of these. Okay. But you can create your own. As simple as that. And that's it. If I now hit play, okay, it's playing now it's playing the audio, and once the audio is finished, it tells me that I need to enter here, and once I'm here, I can get this stuff and put into the proper location. Sorry, I didn't put it correct. Okay, and then the next one, and so on. And one thing that is important is that you can do the user, the trainee, can do the work in the proper sequence, but he can also do mistakes. And those mistakes are going to be reflected in that table and in an internal dictionary that we have. So you're going even to be able, imagine that now, instead of getting the axle, I grab the wheel. I can grab it, I can place it, and it's reflected here. So later on, I could compare this list of results with the sequence list and evaluate if the user is doing the work right or not, or he is missing some step or whatever. Okay, so we let the user freedom to do the things wrong, but we register the results here. Okay, we can restart them and everything starts again and so on. Another
Okay,
kind
I
of
have another question,
yeah,
Sergio.
yeah, go ahead.
Well, imagine that two people or more people wants to train at the same time, but in different engines. So how hard would it be to replicate this whole process so more than one people can train in the same way?
Okay, this is an example that we have taken into account because we have some customers that even they challenge their user to compete for doing things faster or things like that. So is in our case, it's as simple as doing this. I'm going to let me select this. This is the complete training pill that the user is enjoying. Imagine that this is one. So I can duplicate it, okay? And now I have two training pills that you can set up at the same time. The only thing that you have to change in this case to identifiers, because each one of these pills is going to use specific network variables to synchronize, as you have seen before in the scripting system, in the visual scripting system, to synchronize the stuff, the transforms and so on. So the groups themselves have an assembly group ID that you need to change. So in this case, if I change this to something like assembly group number 2, and the sequence, the same thing, if I go here and change the sequence, and this makes sense because even that you only have one stuff to assembly or disassembly, you can have several sequences with the same parts. Okay, so the sequence themselves needs to be identified uniquely in the whole system. That's it. Duplicate the objects and change this specific ID and these specific IDs. Yeah, and once you have done that, you can hit play and have both systems running in parallel. So if I, for instance, go here, I'm seeing that I'm modifying this specific sequence, but not the other, and another user could be changing this one. Okay, that doesn't mean that I cannot do that. Any one of the users can interact with any one of the assemblies because we haven't restricted that. But if you need to do that, you can modify the visual scripting template to allow only, let's say, the first user or the second user or whatever you want. Okay, so now if I go ahead and select this, you can see as this is changing, but the other is not changing, and so on. Okay, so that's it. It's very, very, very simple. One thing that I would like to show you is another kind of completion, which is the video one, this one. This is just a video, which operates as the audio one, but instead of playing an audio, it's going to play a video. As you haven't heard my audio, maybe you can see my video. So I'm going to add it here inside. Let me go to the sequence, to the assembly group, and move it inside this hierarchy. I need to collapse this before. Okay, so once you have this, here is a video completable, which has as well a video completion ID. And then I can sequence it in my sequence. I can go here and edit the video completable. Okay, and now, as you can see, once I complete the whole sequence, I'm going to play a video. And this video has I don't know where it's it. I think it's here. Yeah, has a billboard face camera script to face the camera every time. But if you don't need it, you can disable it or remove this component or whatever. So I'm going to play. And I'm going to go the whole process. Okay, so you can go here. The video is very interesting because sometimes you need to give the user explanations and so on, and it's better to use a media file than. Okay, so here you have.
So this is nice because this could be like an instruction before the assembly sequence, and then like a final video showing how the engine works when it's completed. Since we have like 5 more minutes, do you want to show this live in the single player? Once you have created your app, how you can create a session and how you can join with me, even that we are in different parts of the world?
Yeah, of course, we can do that. Yeah. We to just to finish to publish this application. Once you have everything set up in VIROO, you save your scene, and then you can go here to VIROO application publisher, which is the common window we use to publish our applications, and then you create your own entry here. You go to publish, and then that creates the zip file with everything needed in the project runtime and so on, which is the package that you need to upload to your VIROO portal account. And once you do that, you can enjoy. As this takes some time, we have already published it before with the same, almost the same. I don't know if the same, but almost the same content. And we can create a session. So let me create a session with this content, which is via webinar. I'm going to create it. You can join if you want, Alberto, with me.
Yeah, sure. I want to highlight again that I'm going to join using the keyboard and mouse. Yeah, but I think you are joining using actually the virtual headset, right?
Yeah, let me check if I have battery. I think so. Yeah.
I'm in Madrid. You're in Bilbao.
Yeah.
So that's one of the good things about VIROO, that no matter where you are in the world, you can just connect with other people creating sessions, and you can be sharing the same virtual space, basically.
Okay. Have you took the IDs?
Okay. Yeah, I have it. I just press. I have the list of all the sessions that are live right now. So I just click on join. If I doesn't have the latest version of the app, it's going to prompt me with that, and I just can download it. So the system ensures that everyone in the room has the latest version of the app. I'm going to join by selecting keyboard and mouse, and let's jump right in. We probably should mute in the chat and in the single player. Let's see, you're in VR.
So
nice.
Okay, so here we have it now.
And there we are. Hi.
Hi there. Try to do something, Alberto, yourself. Here you can see that another user has completed the audio. Okay, he has completed the player positioning, and now he's grabbing the wheel, and he's going to set it up in the position and so on. Okay, so you can see as he's interacting, and I can do it myself. I don't know if
you want to go ahead.
Yeah, I can do the same thing. Okay, I can grab things and move things and stuff like that. Okay, so the same as you.
Yeah, and here interaction is always better in VR because you have
total
freedom of movement with the controllers.
It's much more. Yeah, it's much.
But the good thing is, as I always say, there are many people that doesn't have headsets yet. So it's good that those people can still join the sessions and be interactive, not just like spectators of what's going on. So I'm going to put the part just right here, and we have the video. Nice. Can you still hear me? Oh, I cannot hear you right now, Sergio. Maybe the mic switch it, because when we're using headsets, it tends to hijack the mic. But the good thing about VIROO Studio, again, as I always said, is how easy it is to create content, especially for people like me that we are not programmers. I'm more like kind of a designer. I'm even in the marketing team, but I can go inside Unity with some basic knowledge. I can create these amazing apps, and by default, they are multi-user and multi-device. It works with MetaQuest, it works with HTC Vive, it works with Pico, and even works with keyboard and mouse. I think I can hear you now.
Yeah, and it's quite important as well to know that everything that we provide is going to allow you to extend your own behaviors. So you're going even to be able to learn the best practices in VIROO using our templates, because when we create templates, we try to do do it the best way feasible in VIROO. So they can be used as training material as well. So not only to create contents, but to train yourselves in using VIROOs. So it's important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I put it in the chat, but remember, VIROO Studio can be downloaded for free in our website. You can go through www.virtualwareco.com/VIROO, and you can go just to resources. You will find then the template that you can just open in Unity. And we also have documentation on how this whole thing operates. And you can, of course, always ask questions. And we even have a Discord channel for the developer community. So you can just join the developer community and start using VIROO Studio for free. And if you find that it really provides value to your work processes, you can contact us and see how you can get started with VIROO and integrate XR in your company. So I think that's a wrap up. It was a really interesting session. This is one of the things, Sergio, that I always been waiting for in VIROO Studio, because I want to create some kinds of processes that are really common inside some companies. And now with these templates, it's a really good starting point. Probably in the future, we will be making different templates for more use cases. But I think probably this is one of the best use cases. Just assembly different parts and have a full sequence that you can even change in real time to change the process and how the steps needs to be made. Thanks for joining this session. It's much better when I have someone to talk to. Thanks for everyone joining the chat. Again, this webinar will be live on YouTube probably tomorrow, so you can watch it as many times as you want and share it with all your colleagues. And again, I always embrace XR and aim you to visit the website, download VIROO Studio, use it, and start adding value to your work processes inside your company. Thanks, Sergio. I'll hope to have you in more webinars in the future. And thanks everyone for joining this afternoon.
We'll be in the next one. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.